Tesla did a lot of work on solfeggio and binaural beat, and vibration, and trying to change people's thoughts and change people's moods and stuff. I look at the stuff that we're doing on Melody Clouds as a direct result of that kind of work.
Are you curious about discovering ways of making your life better? Then welcome to my podcast. I'm Bob Nickman, and this is The Exploding Human. Listen in while I talk with all kinds of people in the fields of personal growth, health and healing, alternative therapies, psychology, spirituality, environment, and the future. I'm looking for those answers that make life better for everyone. You'll meet cutting-edge practitioners, doctors, artists, filmmakers, business people, and those who have overcome challenges. The brave, the curious, anyone who's out there helping us humans to explore, expand, and explode.
Hey, welcome to The Exploding Human. My name is Bob Nickman. My guest today is WAYNE ALTMAN, and we're going to be talking about the healing power of binaural beats and solfeggio frequencies. But first, I'd like to invite you to visit my website, theexplodinghuman.com. Over there, you can listen to episodes, read synopses, see photos of my guests, a little bio on myself. There's a donate button if you'd like to support the show through Patreon. Thank you very much. There's also a YouTube channel where you can listen. That is The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman. And there's an Exploding Human Facebook page. As I said, my guest today is WAYNE ALTMAN. He has just recently founded a company called Melody Clouds. And on that platform, you will be able to listen to something called Solfeggio Frequencies and binaural beats, among other things. And WAYNE is going to explain to us the healing power of these sounds and how they can help mitigate physical pain, emotional pain, and help us with meditation and spiritual pursuit. I personally can attest to the power of these frequencies because I do listen to this myself. So I was very happy when WAYNE contacted me to be on the show, and it was a fantastic talk. I hope you enjoy it. There's a lot to learn here, and anyone can do this. That's what's so fantastic about it. So here he is. This is WAYNE ALTMAN. We are going to talk about sound and binaural beats, maybe some solfeggio, some other types of music. But let's go to the reason that you got into this, which from what I saw on your one sheet was you have, and I'm not sure, do you pronounce it tinnitus or tinnitus?
Well, okay, so I've heard both, and
Okay.
I respond to both. It's
Okay.
tinnitus if you look at the spelling, but most people have a brain block on that, and they should just go ahead and give in and call it tinnitus. But yes, I was in the military for 8.5 years. And I lost a great deal of my hearing, and what hearing I have left is covered up by this incredible screeching sound that goes on in my head. And a friend of mine said, hey, I want you to try something. And I'm, look, man, let's go. I'm up for anything. And he put an earphone in each ear and played these tones. And I heard silence for the first time in 30 years. And for anyone that has tinnitus, and for them to hear that silence, it was profound. It was an emotional, there was a weight. I mean, it really hit me like a Mack truck.
I can only imagine how beautiful that must have been.
Because it's amazing. Every time I tune it back on, I'm addicted to it now.
How did you discover which frequency was going to work? Did you experiment or?
That's exactly how we did it. We figured out, hey, listen to the first one. Well, I heard a tone on top of, and then within a couple, we found it very quickly.
Do you just use one tone or several tones or music?
So with binaural beats, it's two tones, one in one ear, one in the other ear. Your brain splits the difference. And then now that's the one that you go for. What I was surprised to find out is how many other uses this binaural beats, you can use it for. That's when June 1st, I bought the domain Melody Clouds. That's what we're talking about, right? Melody Clouds on June 1st of this year. Right now, I have 300,000 files on Melody Clouds for my subscribers.
Yeah, I went to the website. It's fantastic. There's so much information.
Wait, I'm going to send you a subscription. Your mind's going to be blown.
Okay, I'm ready for that, because as I was telling you before we started recording, that I do listen to binaural beats. I just go on YouTube.
It'll be a playground for you.
But I think that there's probably, you've made it more specific and more accessible than just trying to randomly find things. So I love that idea, and thank you for the subscription. It sounds awesome.
No problem. You know, really the way that I've set it up is if you want focus, go to this section. There's a whole section for binaural beats music that will increase your focus. If you're dealing with depression or grief, well, there's a section for you to help you overcome. It actually blocks that feeling, and you get a respite from grief for a period of time.
As I was telling you, I listened to them, and I'll tell you a couple experiences I had. One very recently, I started to feel like I was getting the flu, and a little bit, logy and achy and kind of feverish. And I typed in binaural beats flu, and I laid down and meditated to this sound, and it literally, I got up and it was gone, and it did not come
174
back. Oh, is that the hurt?
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking over at a list of all of the, because I'm very organized in the way that this is set up. I like to be, kind of like to organize it for people so it makes sense. I am the least woo-woo guy on the planet. Okay, I'm from Texas. I spent a lot of time, in the woods and in the military, and I was so shocked by how well this worked for me and others. I have never heard anyone come to me and tell me that no binaural beat, no solfeggio frequency worked for them.
When you think about it, just for somebody who maybe is skeptical, think about just when you listen to certain types of music that you love, does it change your mood? Of course it does. Does it make you want to dance? Does it make you, the vibration is what we are.
100%.
And so if you're vibrating a certain way, doesn't it make sense that other vibrations would do other things to you, including healing maladies and or emotional issues, or even not just healing, but elevating to other areas that maybe you can't access on your own.
You're 100% correct. There are 17 movies that have ever been created that do not have a soundtrack. Even silent movies had a soundtrack. Someone was in the front beating on a piano to tell you how to feel about the images you were looking at. The movie WALL-E, it was an hour and 40 minutes before the first word of dialogue in that movie. And you get 3 and 4 and 5-year-old kids sitting there with their hands folded, watching this movie, every one of them in sync, because the robot was going through all kinds of tribulations. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but you and I can walk into a movie. You can walk into a church, and that organist can be playing a dirge, and you and I, without even looking at one another, both will know it's time to be reverent. Our voices are lower. We don't even need to talk to one another or say anything. We know that's the mood. However, if the two of us walk across the street to a Southern Baptist church singing praise music, we immediately walk through the doors, listen to that music, and our hands want to raise, and we're uplifted. So the jury is come back. It's over and done. This has been studied since before the 11th century. And right now we're living in a time where we've finally been able to nail down what does what.
Yeah, it's really is very scientific. And even though it seems kind of odd to some people that sound would change things other than just, I want to dance, it absolutely, like you were saying earlier before we started recording, that it's like going to the doctor. There's a specific medicines that do specific things, and there are specific sounds.
Yeah, people, will immediately put their trust. Most people immediately put their trust in their doctor when he prescribes a pill. And they go and try that pill, and they think nothing of the fact. They come back, the doctor says, well, we're going to put you on a different medication. That one doesn't seem to be doing what we want it to do. This is very similar along those lines, with one caveat, with one exception, and it's non-addictive and there are no side effects. So you're not going, it's the side effects of listening to music, whatever those are for you.
Yes. It's absolutely fantastic. Now tell me the difference and the similarities between solfeggio and what are the origins of that and binaural beats, because I've listened to both. I'll tell you a story in a second about solfeggio, but go ahead and tell me.
So in the 11th century, there was a monk, Guido di Arezzo, and he did a lot of study with sound. And he noticed that even people who didn't play a musical instrument could tell when one was out of tune. And he found that very curious. And so he started working with the vibrations, wondering why, like you and I were talking about guitars or, learning to play guitar, right? I cannot play a guitar, but you and I both can tell when one is out of tune. And that to me was very curious. How in the world? Well, it's that vibration. You mentioned it before, that there are certain vibrations that we're very sensitive to, and music being one of those vibrations. Okay, with a binaural beat, you have two frequencies that are going one in each ear. Your brain then makes the difference, and that's the frequency that it is actually responding to, the one that it's made. With solfeggio, it's one frequency, and generally it's embedded in music that goes with that frequency. And that frequency, your body becomes in tune with. So your body it's a different way of doing it. You don't have to listen to headphones with solfeggio frequencies. Generally speaking, although I've been getting a lot of people coming to me saying, hey, I can listen to binaural beat now without having to put the headphones in. The binaural beats, I have binaural beats that will drop you like a rock. If you need sleep, come to me.
I've never used headphones.
Really? See,
no, I can't wait to try that. I'm going to get a really good, I'm in the market for a good pair just for, doing this.
Well, Melody Clouds very shortly is going to be offering little earbuds.
Okay.
Because those are, very easy. You can actually sleep. That's the way I started doing this, was I put earbuds in, I would listen to, and I mean, there are certain frequencies that will put me in REM sleep. You could be having a conversation with me. I hit play and buddy, gone. I mean, it's weird.
I don't have a problem with sleep ever. So I prefer sleep to being awake.
Well, you and me both, especially when you're actually able to, to get to that really restful, that REM sleep where you feel refreshed, when you feel like, okay, I really got a good night's sleep. I think everyone likes that feeling.
Plus the journey that you get to go on in dreams, which I dream pretty vividly. And so I really am fascinated with that too. So I'm wondering how maybe some binaural beats would affect dreams too, because that's a really interesting idea too.
Funny that you mentioned that, because that's one of the reasons that they're using this to treat PTSD. So they can actually guided meditations. That's a big thing on Melody Clouds. We do a lot of guided meditations, and they use those meditations to treat PTSD, clinical depression, and they really center, because they can actually kind of guide you and your moods into to reassert those muscles, almost like muscles, can reassert those positive thoughts with people. It seems that once you have enough negative thoughts, those become the ones that manifest themselves.
Yeah.
Those become the ones that push themselves to the front. And, you really have to exercise other, thoughts. You have to really concentrate on better thoughts in order to kind of overcome that.
So the idea that these sounds can help you change your perception is really important, because it does seem like negative is an easier I don't know if easier is the right word. It seems to dominate much simpler than positive, at least for me. I have to work at positivity. I do not have to work at negativity. It comes very naturally to me.
Very important reason for that. There's a very important reason for that. And look, I'm the same way. When I was a teenager, I listened to a lot of Depeche Mode, Cure, The Smiths, a lot of really depressive music. And I found out later in life, hey, dummy, you addicted yourself to that dopamine push when you got it. So it was a chemical reaction going on every time I would listen to that music. Now, nothing wrong with listening to, the Cure and Depeche Mode. There's a lot of their fans out there. I love that, right? But just like with anything else, you can create those chemical receptors, and you can kind of put yourself in a hole a little bit. So if you're always going to the dark place, if that's your go-to, just know that it's going to be very difficult to get yourself back to a brighter and sunnier outlook.
Yeah, well, when you always think about the when teenagers in their dark period, it seems very common just with brain development too. It's just, and an awareness that the world is not the greatest place on earth.
Yeah, that was definitely me. And my father would warn me about that too. He's like, look, man, your life is way better than you want to give it credit for. And of course he was right. And I came out on the other side of that. But a lot of people can't. A lot of people still, they found themselves in a place where they really need help reminding themselves that life is a beautiful gift.
Yeah, I'm one of those people, and I have to constantly work at it. It isn't a struggle anymore, but it wasn't at first when I went, maybe there is a different way to not be so dark and negative. Thank God I have a sense of humor. Thank God that was always there.
Helps. Yeah, for the same reason, by the way, because you get that hit of dopamine, you get those chemicals that make that become addictive in themselves. One of the reasons, or one of the things I want to tell you, our tagline is "Take charge of your mood." That's Melody Clouds. Melody Clouds, take charge of your mood, and it was very specific, because I want people to understand that this is what this is about. If you feel sad and don't want to, then take charge. If you're angry with someone and you want to release that anger, you don't want it to consume you, then hey, move over here, come over with us, and let's take charge of that mood and, move forward.
Beautiful thing that you're doing, and that it exists. For anyone to access. And like you say, no side effects other than positive side effects. I'm going to give you a couple of stories. First one is a Solfeggio story, and we have some neighbors that are extremely inconsiderate and very noisy. And sometimes they run power tools, power washers, and just without any sort of sense that they're disturbing other people. So my wife says, I'm going to put some Solfeggio on in the house, our house, not outside, not that they can even hear audibly. And every time she does it, the noise stops. It might go for a little while, but it literally, like you say, it affects the body somehow. And I don't know if it's affecting us, which is in turn affecting them, or it's going directly, silently, vibrationally. This sounds insane. I'm like, that's not going to work, but it works every time.
It's 100% something that absolutely sounds the opposite of insane, number one, because that is exactly why we put this toolbox together. Okay, that's number one. One of the things that this is a couple years ago before I decided to start Melody Clouds. There are frequencies that you can no longer hear the older you get. Okay, so businesses, and especially in California where we are, have come to realize that by playing these frequencies near their business, they can dissuade certain age groups from hanging out outside of their business. So if you'll look on some of the businesses around, there's a box, and that box is playing a frequency that adults cannot hear, but teenagers hear very clearly, and it is unpleasant, to say the least. And it's very much like a scarecrow to those businesses. You see them where they don't skateboard outside of it. Yeah. Solfeggio works very similarly.
Yeah, that idea of like, let's get out of here.
Yeah,
I don't like this place.
Basically saying, hey, look, what she's doing is basically saying, hey, now's not the time to do that.
Yeah, yeah,
and they're picking up on
it. It feels like we're like doing some witchcraft. It's cool.
Or the same thing. We had neighbors that had dogs, and another neighbor came to me and said, hey, Wayne, doesn't it bother you, Candace and Frank, their dogs are barking all the time? And I said, no, it doesn't bother. I don't really hear it. But if you don't like that, then why don't you play this dog whistle when the dog starts barking, blow the dog whistle, and train the dog yourself not to bark. You don't even have to involve Candace and Frank, and they don't even know what's going on, and I'm sure they would appreciate it. So that's exactly what they did. And our house was directly between the two houses that were having the issue. And it was really funny for my wife and I. On one side, here comes the dog barking. On the other side, there's no noise. There's no sound coming from it. But all of a sudden, this dog stopped barking because Tony grabbed the dog whistle and trained the dog to stop barking.
That's so cool. Okay, now this is a binaural beats thing that it was an experience, and I only had it the first time I tried it. I looked up male sexual energy. Okay, and so I played it, and now I didn't get sexually aroused, but what happened was I felt I guess, how would I describe it? Like I felt gripped, like energetically gripped around my entire body. Like really strong, like I was being squeezed or something, like sound like gripped. And I got up and I felt very energetic. It wasn't a sexual experience per se, but it definitely tapped into some kind of, I guess it was sexual energy, but, and I really was like, whoa, I didn't expect that to happen. I just was curious. I mean, I try things. So I can't wait to go on your website to try all the different things, because there's
a lot of guided meditations that you will be really thrilled with. I think that you'll really get and that's not all. Look, I made it we're growing all the time. Like I said, we have 300,000 files on Melody Clouds right now. I put over 17,000 audiobooks read by some very big names. Mm-hmm. All the classics, Charles Dickens, Frankenstein, A Tale of Two Cities, all of these like really good literature. And I realized that some people like to read books, but other people like being read too. And it's very calming. I just struck a deal. It'll be up very shortly for Aesop's Fables. I'm doing 130 of Aesop's Fables read by a Hall of Fame, in the Radio Hall of Fame, radio announcer. The guy's got a voice like butter. He's a super guy. And I want to gift that to kids. You and we grew up with Aesop's Fables.
Oh, yeah.
And once you read them, you realize, okay, everyone this is how you're supposed to live. These life lessons this is more than a story. And unfortunately, we've taken that away from our younger generations. I'm giving it back. There is 30,000 books that people can, if they want to read, and over 8,000 episodes of old-time radio have gone up, and you're able to listen to some really cool stories that I don't want to be lost.
I love this. It's so great. And as you were talking about this radio announcer, I was thinking about when I meet certain individuals. I mean, there's some very obviously that's a cool voice, but that's deep and resonant.
Yeah, that's him.
And melodic, and but there are certain people when you talk to them, and I don't think that's a deliberate thing on their part that they're trying to sound soothing, but when I think about people that are successful salesmen or successful actors or that. idea of voice frequency to influence people, not diabolically, but just, there are people like that where they go, oh, I love your voice. And there's trust in some voices, even though the person may even be trustworthy. Like great con men seem to have those kind of voices. They have a quality that is soothing to people, and the people makes them feel safe or trusted. That's an interesting idea too. Like, can we change that in ourselves, or is it a result of some inner type of thing that's going on?
Well, look, we know the answer to that question from the woman Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos. She changed physically. Changed her voice. She purposefully changed her voice for the exact reasons that you just said. Now, you mentioned con. I'm not going to comment on that, but she was convicted and will be serving time in prison. But she knew going in, she was going to lower her voice. It was going to become more trustworthy. People were going to have more gravitas and believe in her. And she's the one that did the blood testing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
look,
familiar with the case.
Right? Billions of dollars she was able to scoot away with, and now she's going to prison.
When I think about some of the comedians, when I listen to them, they have a naturally comedic voice. I think of like Buddy Hackett, for example.
Right.
He had a very distinct kind of almost childlike voice.
Yep.
That when you listen to it, you just kind of want to laugh.
Stephen Wright was another one. Sam Kinison, another comedian, where you really Dave Chappelle actually.
Yeah, I was going to mention him.
He's a master of being you go in with the expectation, even if you've never heard of him. After a few minutes, his cadence and his pitch, his everything about it is designed to be funny.
Yeah. It is comedically seductive. You get pulled in. You're riding. You're listening to music is what you're doing. It literally has all the elements, and so all comedy that is really done well. It is just like music. The sounds are the notes, and you combine some sounds for words, and then you combine all that you get sentences, and then you have space in between, and cadence and tone, and it really is a musical experience when it's done well. And when I think about, this is a big picture thing, when I think about the outer space and the universe, now we're going big here, Wayne.
Right.
We're going out in space. Now, so there's some things that are very obviously solid objects like planets and asteroids and stars, and all those things. But most of it is space. And there isn't very obvious things, materials, hard, objects. But that space is not dead. It's alive. It's vibration. That tone that certainly if I was floating around in outer space, I don't know what I would hear or how it would affect my body or what would happen. But that is, to me, is really fascinating. That soup of sound that is out there.
And it carries those vibrations extraordinarily well. I mean, they research with a Hadron Collider says that every single particle that make you up is in connection with every single particle that make me up. And our photons and electrons are in direct communication with every single other proton and electron in existence. Now, wrap your head around that. So that brings us, but the reason I mention that is because it brings us right back to what we are talking about and the work that Tesla did on vibration. Tesla did a lot of work on solfeggio and binaural beat, and vibration, and trying to change people's thoughts and change people's moods and stuff. I look at the stuff that we're doing on Melody Clouds as a direct result of that kind of work. He almost brought a building down with vibration. A very small loaf of bread sized machine he said, listen, I could go over to that bridge and destroy that bridge with that within 15, 20 minutes. So he understood how vibration was, capable of, utter destruction. When the U.S. military, when they have soldiers that cross a bridge, they break cadence, they break march, they don't march across bridges for that reason. Everyone takes their own step and breaks up that vibration. So even our military understands that you do not march troops across a bridge.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You don't want to bring it down right over there. I mean, you march enough troops across a bridge and it'll bring it down. And at least they're concerned about it enough that they don't do it. I did a lot of marching in the Army, but never across the bridge, buddy.
Everybody, you skip, you run, you.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody just walk across the bridge. We're going to stay in line. Everybody walk across the bridge and make sure that your step isn't in line with anybody else's.
Well, when you think about also the idea of using vibration for, and I'm not sure how it's being harnessed, but to create power for vehicles.
Well, we're definitely trying right now to find alternate, sources of energy. I mean, that is, we're infants when it comes to that. I mean, we really don't know. Now, the big thing was solar sails. All of the ions that are coming off of the reaction of the sun pushing a large enough surface. A lot of our satellites and a lot of our rocket parts, that's one of the reasons that they're so worried about them, is because that constant push from the sun's ions could push those things right back on top of us. So that'd be a big problem.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it'd be seriously. Which, by the way, there's a big debate going on right now about the age of the Earth, whether or not they've aged the Earth correctly. And one of the problems is the moon. When we did the moon shots, the geologists and the scientists on the Earth thought we've got a real problem. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, they could just zip right into the surface of the moon, may not be as solid as they're expecting. There could be 1/4 of a mile of dust settled on the top of the moon. And that was a real worry, because if the Earth was as old as they thought it was, that's what would have been happening. And the reason for that is because the sun constantly beats on the moon and breaks that rock down into that dust. So if the Earth was really that old, you would expect 1/4 of a mile of that dust to have accumulated from all that time. And in reality, they found out, nope, it's not. And now they've got a question, have we aged the Earth properly?
Well, that's interesting. I think the first words when they landed on the moon was not one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. It was, it's soft, I can kick it.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have been for me. It would have been, get me off of here. Oh my God, what have we done?
I'd look around and I go, where's the chicks?
I would have turned back and looked at the Earth where I came from and been like, oh my God, who talked me into this?
I know, me too. I have no desire.
Well, that's what's weird though, Bob. That's what's weird. I am so mad at the fact that I can't get in a rocket ship like the Jetsons, and I can't go into space, and it's not perfectly safe for me to do. I get so angry sometimes because I grew up thinking that, hey, pretty soon we are all going to be on a spaceship and I get to see all of these different places, and that has sadly not come to true. Come to pass.
Well, yeah, maybe once you are taking the things that'll make you live forever.
Oh man,
we're into some futuristic stuff now. So
right. I wanted to mention something to you though, and it's really why I want to bring it back to Melody Clouds for just a minute, because I got some very big news today. Our app got cleared through Apple, and I just want to let everyone know that my iOS app, my Google Play app are going to be released this week. And it's been a long time coming, and I am extraordinarily proud. They're two of the most beautiful functioning apps that I've ever seen myself. I know I'm partial. One of the things that I insisted on is the unsubscribe button is the largest button on the entire app, because I don't want anyone to subscribe to this that doesn't want to be there. And I don't want you to have to search around and try and find a reason to leave or try and find out how to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but that's why I priced it the way that I did. And for your listeners, it's $2.99 for the first 60 days, $5.99 a month after that. So less than a gallon of gas for you and I. People can enjoy this and go through all of everything that I've talked about, the solfeggios, the binaural beats, the audiobooks. Everything is open to everyone. There's no premium version of this. And I was very offended by some of the other apps on the market that were charging $25, $30 for these tools. Because there may be some people that A, can't afford that, or B, don't want to spend their money that way. The way I priced it, I want you to feel dumb for not getting this. I want you to feel a little, like you're missing out, because there's no reason that you can't be involved and can't enjoy this and can't check it out for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, for $3 to try it for 2 months, $2.99 for, I mean, just for as an experiment.
Come on,
you'll know.
You can find out if it works or not.
Yeah,
I put my money where my mouth is.
Right, 50 cents a day for 2 months.
Come on,
what you're talking about. So that's a fantastic offer, and thank you for putting the unsubscribe button big.
Right.
That is one of my pet peeves. Like, how do I get out of this thing? Not your thing, but other stuff where I'm like, people are sending things.
Me too.
I can't even find it on some emails. It's like,
listen, I refuse to take a dime from anyone that isn't there gratefully handing it. I'm not trying to this is not going to make me rich. This is not something I did to become this big, rich, $1 billion idea. No. That's not what this is about. The whole idea behind this was to actually do what people say they're going to do and help people and bring this to people. That's really what this is about. There are other services that are lesser than mine, charging $15, $20 a month, and they're getting it, and that's good for them.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to help everyone else. I want anyone that wants to take a look at this and find out for themselves if it's beneficial as it was to me. My compliments.
Yeah, and it's beneficial to me. I will put my own stamp on this technology and the idea of binaural beats and solfeggio. They've personally helped me prior to me meeting Wayne. So I'm endorsing everything about this because I just think it's a fantastic.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to think this is a playground. Melody Clouds is going to be an absolute playground for you. You already know the benefits that it can bring. Well, I'm also bringing some extra sauce onto the thing as well.
Great. So folks, if you're struggling with something or you just want to attain another level of emotional health, spirituality, all these things, this is such a great thing. I can't even really describe it. That's what I like about it. I can't really say what it's done for me and continues to do, because I actually meditate every day to some binaural beat. That's what I do. It's a daily thing. And I started out just 10 minutes, but now it's 45 minutes. That's just what it is. I don't try to do that. I don't try not to do that. That's just what my time is. I don't know why my body does that, but that's pretty much what happens almost every day for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're gonna we have guided meditations. And it really, a lot of people that come to me that do meditations and stuff, they have contacted me and said, hey, look, your guided meditations are on another level. It really brings out things in me that, we're kind of, I don't know where it pulled it from. And so we're very happy with that. Yeah. We're very proud of what we're offering right now.
Are these people talking with the music underneath?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah. It definitely, yeah. You have people that are very low. They guide you through a meditation. They kind of paint pictures for you. And there's a lot of people, Bob, that they want to meditate. They want to see what that's all about, but they just don't know how to get started. And then there are other people who are, look, it takes my meditation to a whole nother level by getting in the car with someone else and letting them drive where we're going to go. So you've got an added layer to that meditation, right? Where normally you're putting the thought, you're putting the energy out. Now you get to be in a limousine and it's taking you on this journey. And there are so many people that contact me and say, look, you got to get more of these. I've already burned through all your guided meditation, Wayne. When are you getting more? And so we're working on that right now.
I can't tell you how happy this podcast has made me today, and I can't wait to jump on there. I forget who contacted me, who your promoting person is, your podcast.
Diana, who I love that woman so much. She has been great for me.
Yeah, so shout out to Diana, and shout out to you and melodyclouds.com. It's spelled just like it sounds. Multiple clouds, not one cloud. Melody Clouds.
All of the clouds.
All the clouds. Thank you so much for being on the show, Wayne. I look forward to jumping on the website and getting some guided meditation and maybe listening to some books, some Aesop's fables to bring me back to my delightful childhood.
Yeah, I honestly think you'll enjoy them too. I did. I enjoyed putting them all together. I've forgotten about so many of these. So many of the Fox and the Grapes. I mean, I forgot about so many of these stories that I just sat there with the biggest smile on my face going, wow, this is good.
Well, it's another aspect to the website, which is something for your children. I mean, what a wonderful thing to give to kids, rather than crappy TV. So,
hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
For all the new parents out there, we just added lullabies. And I cut those lullabies in 20-hour segments. Not that you should put your kid down in for 20 hours. It's not why we did it. But I wanted to make sure that when your child woke in the middle of the night, it would self-soothe. So the first skill we learn as infants, as human beings on this planet, is the ability to soothe ourselves back to sleep. That's the first thing we learn. And so when you put your child down and it's all swaddled and cute and smelling nice and goes to sleep, it'll wake up in the middle of the night. Every new parent knows that. Well, with that music playing and the smells of the room are still the same, and it realizes that it's safe very quickly, between 30 and 60% quicker, you're going to have a child that self-soothes itself right back to sleep. So that's a little added, bonus for parents, brand new parents. That aside from the meditation, that's probably my second largest group of people that contact me.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even think of that. So I'm glad you brought that up before we ended the episode.
Yeah,
that's
I am
fantastic.
too. You reminded me of it. So thanks. I'm glad I had the
Look
opportunity.
at that. Parents, you got a helpful tool. Very good. Wayne, have a beautiful day. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Much appreciation for you guys listening in to The Exploding Human. Check out the website, theexplodinghuman.com, the YouTube channel, The Exploding Human with Bob Nickman, and The Exploding Human Facebook page. I want to thank Wayne Altman once again. Check out his platform, Melody Cloud. Sign up for that because it's really amazing. And have a blessed day. Thank you.